And we've seen some of these major podcasters, whether it's Joe Rogan, Theo, they've criticized the administration on key issues, whether it's Joe Rogan comparing ICE to the Gestapo or Theo essentially tagging Vice President Vance and Speaker Mike Johnson last year about the Epstein files. So those are coalitions that they're trying to tap into. And there's a recognition that some of these anti-establishment voters are really areas where the president needs to shore up his support.
Joe Rogan just compared ICE to Gestapo. Let me say that again. Joe Rogan, the guy who hosted Donald Trump on his podcast right before the election, the guy who arguably helped Trump win in 2024, the guy with the biggest podcast on the planet, just compared to Trump's immigration enforcement to Nazi Germany's secret police. And he's not the only one. Theo, another massive podcaster who has friendly with the administration, just publicly tagged J.D. Vance, Mike Johnson, to call them out over for the Epstein files cover-up.
You don't want militarized people in the streets just roaming around, snatching people up, many of which turn out to actually be U.S. citizens that just don't have their papers on them. Are we really going to be Gestapo? Where's your papers? Is that what we've come to? You don't want militarized...
Yeah. The podcast bros are turning on Trump, and the White House is panicking because these aren't Democrats. These aren't CNN anchors. These aren't the fake news media. These are the exact people Trump used to win the election. These are the people who delivered him young voters, independent voters, the anti-establishment crowd. And now they're turning around and calling his administration the Gestapo and demanding answers on Epstein. So here's the situation. According to the White House reporting from this week, the Trump administration is watching their poll numbers collapse among the exact groups that won them in the election. Young voters, Black and Latino voters, independent voters, the crosstabs are tearing, and the White House knows it, for sure. Think about what that means. Trump didn't win in 2024 because every Republican showed up. He won because he expanded the map. He pulled in young guys who listened to Joe Rogan and Theo. He pulled in Latino voters who were frustrated with the economy. He pulled in independents who wanted change. Those were his margin of victory. And now, 1 year into his second term, those exact voters are leaving. And the reason they're leaving because everything I've been covering up on this channel for weeks. The ICE raids in Minneapolis, where the 2 American citizens were killed, the Epstein files cover-up where the Attorney General called survivors paying theatrics, the economy where everyday Americans are drowning in grocery prices, and rent while Trump brags about the stock market. All of it. It's all catching up to him. And the people who gave him the benefit of doubt are starting to say, this isn't what I signed up for. So let's talk about Rogan specifically because this is devastating for Trump. Joe Rogan has the most listened to podcast in the world. His audience is predominantly young men, the exact demographic Trump needs for the midterms. When Rogan hosted Trump before the election, it was considered one of the biggest gets of the entire campaign. That interview was credited with helping swing young male voters toward Trump. And now that same guy is watching the ISIS doing Minneapolis, the raids, the killings, the women being dragged by their hair, the agents who got caught lying under oath, and he's comparing it to the Gestapo, the Nazi secret police. This is not a casual comparison. That's not a policy disagreement. That is Rogan telling his audience of millions that Trump is doing with immigration enforcement looks like fascism. And Trump administration can't just dismiss this the way they dismiss CNN or MSNBC. They can't call Rogan fake news. They can't call him a liberal. The guy literally hosted Trump on his show and gave him one of the friendliest interviews of the entire campaign. When Joe Rogan turns on you, you can't just spin it. You can't deflect. Your own base is hearing it from someone they trust more than any politician. And there's the Theo, another massive podcaster, millions of followers, also had friendly interactions with the administration, and he just publicly called out J.D. Vance and Mike Johnson over the Epstein files. He tagged them directly. He's not asking politely. He's demanding answers. And his audience, young, male, anti-establishment, is watching their guy go after Trump's team. This is nightmare scenario for the White House, to be honest, because their entire midterm strategy was built around using those podcasters to reach the voters they're losing or they couldn't even reach. The plan was to send Trump, Vance, and cabinet members onto these shows to shore up the support before November. And now the hosts of those shows are the ones attacking them. The plan was to send Trump, Vance, and cabinet members onto these shows to shore up the support. And now the hosts of these shows are the ones attacking them. It's like planning to use your friend's house for a party and then finding out your friend just changed the locks and put your name on the do not enter list. The platform they were counting on is now a platform destroying them. And here's the other part of this that's almost comical. The White House's biggest strategy to win back voters is to talk about the economy. They want Trump going around the country bragging about the stock market hitting 50,000 and positive job numbers. Sound familiar? That is literally the exact mistake Joe Biden made in 2024. Biden kept telling Americans the economy is great, you don't understand how good things are, and voters punished him for it because they were drowning in grocery bills and rent. And now Trump is doing the same thing. He's bragging about Wall Street while Main Street is struggling. And the most insane example of this was Pam Bondi at the Epstein hearing. She's sitting in front of Congress. Survivors of child trafficking are standing behind her. Democrats are asking her about redacted names and hidden files. And she starts randomly shouting about how great the Dow Jones is doing. It's an Epstein hearing. She's yelling about the stock market while survivors are crying behind her. And that is how disconnected this administration is from reality and people. And then there's Marjorie Taylor Greene. And I know I never thought I'd say this, but MTG is actually resonating with Republican voters right now in her criticism of Trump. She left Congress, she had a massive public falling out with Trump, and now she's going after him on Epstein files and on his frame policy agenda. She's saying he's spending too much time sending aircraft carriers toward Iran and not enough time dealing with affordability at home. And here's the scary part for the White House. It's working. Republican voters are responding to it. So much so the White House Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles, has admitted that Trump will travel abroad less this year because of the domestic backlash. So let me add all this up for you. Joe Rogan, the biggest podcaster in the world, is comparing ICE to the Gestapo. Theo is publicly calling out Vance and Johnson over Epstein. Marjorie Taylor Greene is attacking Trump from the right, and Republican voters are listening. Young voters are leaving. Latino voters are leaving. And independent voters are leaving too. The economy messaging is a carbon copy of Biden's failed strategy, and the Attorney General is screaming about the stock market at an Epstein hearing. This is what coalition collapsing looks like. And not all at once. Not in one dramatic moment. It happens piece by piece. One podcaster at a time, one demographic at a time. And right now, every single piece is moving in the wrong direction for Donald Trump. The people who put him in the office are the people turning on him. Then the administration plan to win them back, going on the same podcast whose hosts are now calling them fascists and demanding Epstein answers, is not just failing, it's backfiring spectacularly. Trump won in 2024 because he convinced America he was the outsider, the anti-establishment guy, the guy who could shake things up. 1 year later, the actual outsiders, the podcasters, the independent voices, the anti-establishment crowd are calling him the establishment. They're calling his agents the Gestapo. They're demanding he release the Epstein files and tell the names who was redacted on those files that we can see, but they're so important that Trump is protecting them. For what? So if you found this video informative, I'd be really appreciated if you can just sub to my channel and like the video. And please comment down below what do you think. Thank you so much.